Hi everyone, I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit Teaching itself, on TikTok, 1974 Night Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I would recommend, suggest, really encourage people to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teaching of Going Within Self, to get a better understanding of what it is that I bring forward on my channel. As some of you are aware, if you're not new to my channel, I learn a lot of different things, and usually it's like what I come across on TikTok or something I've experienced or witnessed in life, or sometimes politics, or sometimes with regards to the system. Okay, I don't usually right now because it's just more of spirit. And today I was directed towards doing this because I observed this video on TikTok. Okay, and it was very like, this is supposed to be apparently in Canada, and it's like, seriously. Okay, so what this woman's done, this officer, which she's abusing, it's abuse of authority what she's doing, because I'm going to play the video, but I'm going to show you what I have in my possession, a criminal code. And in that criminal code, it has Canada Constitution. So that's why it's titled Canada United States Constitution. Okay? Because I also have in my possession a copy of the Constitution of the United States, along with the amendments of it. And if somebody wants to come in and say, what's your point? You can go out the same way you came in, because obviously you're part of the problem. Because there are people that don't know their constitutional rights. They don't know what's going on in the Constitution. And that's where they're getting roughshod. And that's where you get bullies like the officers who go and tell people that, oh, you can't preach about Jesus. But other affiliations can preach about their stuff. Okay? And that's where constitution come in, and your freedoms and rights. But no matter what religious aspect you look at it, each side is trying to violate the other side's rights. And they're doing it through saying, oh, well, it's God. No, it's not. It's you, the people, who's doing it. You just don't want to take responsibility for it because it's easier to blame it on somebody else other than yourself. My channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll even fucking piss you off. Some may believe me, some may not. Some may actually, look at things not from the mind and from the dogma and the manipulation, but through the heart of what's true, right, and just. See, what this officer did is an abuse of authority. What your government is doing is abuse of authority. It's crimes against humanity. It's war crimes. But some people are so far into the dogma that they've allowed themselves to be manipulated, so deep down, they know what's taking place. But they themselves have their own inner work to do. Like they expect all other sides of the coin to do it. They want, see, the thing is, you want one side seeing your side, but you don't want to see the other side because you think your side is right. And I know when people come into my chat room, my lives, and when they attack me or have disdain for me because I can feel it because your beliefs don't align with mine. So you perceive it to be. Because I look at everyone's beliefs and I pick the good parts out. And when I say good parts, I'm talking about the parts that benefit humanity as a whole, not just a certain affiliation or group. See, we live in our we live in our limited belief systems because we're told it can only be one way, and that one way is the only way that's true. In our actuality, it all comes back to the same thing, but you're just not seeing it because you have your blinders on, or because you're trying to abuse your authority. I will get on with it when I'm ready to get on with it. If you're that fucking impatient, you're so impatient about it, go do your own research instead of expecting somebody else to do it for you or somebody else to save you because you're too ignorant to look at the truth and save yourself from it. You must be a trumpet or a Pierre Polier. You know, I don't care what side of the government you're on. Like seriously, I feel somebody like trying to. It's like you're trying to cut off my throat chakra because I can feel it right here. So, would you like some help? Here, let me help you with that. He's so good at what to create. I'm psychotic, but hey, I'm not the one trying to strangle someone. I'm just saying, here, would you like me to help you with that? I said it many other times before. I prepared for the choking because, you know, might sound a little psychotic, but I actually found it pleasurable during sex. But that was until I prepared because it's actually very dangerous. See, those people want to take, like, people like whoever's trying to, you know, shut me down, suffocate me because they don't like what I have to say. That's your insecurities, and that means you're hiding your own truth. So let's play this, and then we'll get to the Constitution. This is Canada. Okay? For preaching the gospel. That is no offense. This is Canada. It's not. Provide me your ID. In the next 10 seconds, I will arrest you. Okay? But I don't know the law that says that I have to. Now, Somebody had commented on that and had agreed with what the officer did. I have to say, you got something against Jesus? Oh, apparently so, right? Oh. Hey, he's preaching the gospel and you're creating a disturbance. And it was about like him using a speaker and a microphone. Well, shit, like I said, commented to that woman, you better stop going to your fucking concerts. They should be shut down because they're a hell of a lot louder than this man. You just don't like people talking about Jesus for whatever reason. Whether you think he's the Messiah or not the Messiah, or whether you think he's God or not God, or whether you think he's Christian or Muslim or Jewish or, however you believe him to be. I'm not in here to preach the gospel. I'm not in here to preach the Bible because, I see things differently. I see it to be people's stories, with me. Everybody interprets the Bible the way that they interpret it. Some interpret it that, they're going to kill people in the name of God because God wants you to do that. No, God doesn't want you to kill people. God wants you to heal people. Teach people how to heal themselves. Teach people how to stand up for themselves against the tyrants like that officer. See, if he had went after that officer, there would have been a big uproar about it. But she was actually violating his rights. So she was in the wrong. So she should be the one arrested, penalized for what she did for abuse of authority. She must have a problem with Jesus. She's got some work to do. And not because she doesn't believe in Jesus if she doesn't, but because she has a bitter, power hungry control thing. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Because here in the Constitution Act 1982, under fundamental freedoms, everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of conscience and religion. But each of you bash at each other for your religion, and I have to say, why? Why are you so worried about whether somebody else believes in your God or not, or believes the way you do or not? And no, I heard somebody say, because there's a right way. Is there a right way, or do you just think there's a right way? I don't need to go to church to find God. I don't need someone in the middle to get me to Christ. I need me in Christ. We have tools. It's not about forcing somebody to believe. Because a lot of the time there's a lot of being misguided. Your Pope just passed the other day. Okay? Why are you idolizing? They say the Holy Father ain't the Holy Father. Seriously, and I know people took offense to that. Well, you probably left the room too. Good, later. No sweat off my ass. Just one more person who don't want to be open to truth. Because you look to your idols. It's the same as you go to concerts. And then you tell somebody to shut their mouth because they're talking about Jesus. those inner demons and wounds. Or Yeshua or Christ. You know, he even referred to him as God, but he never said he was God. He said he was Son of God. And he answered to the Father, but not to the Pope. People think that the Pope was always a man. Got to put a man in as a Pope. Put the man in as a Pope. Why? Do you think I'm mocking you? Well, you know, that's your fault. There was one woman Pope, Joan, and that was in 855 to 857, I think it was. See, who was the first who said Pope? Peter, right? Everybody was watching the thing and they said, he said, Judas betrayed Jesus. Judas who betrayed Jesus. It was Peter who betrayed Jesus. Whether you people or not, he became the first Pope. Peter is the Holy Father. He had not one fucking holy bone in his body. You know, think of it this way. It was said that he wanted to be buried. He wanted to be crucified upside down on the cross. What does that remind you of? Seriously. He was affiliated with your leaders. He was a narc. He was in there to see what was going on with Jesus. And that's why he didn't like Mary Magdalene, because he was the traitor. And she knew the truth. ¿Sí? So it's like it would be him of the mentality, hey, bitch, get there, like you're under me. Got to try to get rid of Jesus before the truth comes out, right? In trial, much like this person in here who was preaching the gospel of Jesus, he was being condemned, like going to be arrested because he was talking about Christ. But every other religion goes out and talks about it. And I'm not defending any religion because I'm on Christianity that's Christ consciousness, accepts everything, and helps them to heal. But they're the ones that got to heal themselves. So the freedoms, freedom of conciseness and religion is religion. Freedom of thought. You know, where is it in Britain? They're saying that they're arresting people because they're praying in their own mind. Seriously, how the fuck do they know they're praying in their own mind? Are they fucking reading it? I'll pray. Sure, because he has a pray in my mind. I pray in my heart. I even pray and talk to God when I'm walking in stores and everything. I mean, like, seriously. Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. But we fight over everything. Instead of, talking with one another so that you can figure out the pieces of the puzzle to put it all together. I'll be honest, religion has just divided it. But we see a fight with one another because of it. You know, your prophets, your prophecies, your self-fulfilling prophecy. So you're going to fulfill your own prophecy, or are you going to fulfill a dogmatic, systematic, manipulated prophecy? It was written so that everybody would drill it in their head and they'd be their own fulfilling prophecy. They'd fulfill the prophecy that they wanted you to fulfill. Free will is about whether free will. You have the free will to follow your own, but there's also the divine. So eventually you will get there. It can be easy or it can be painful. It's a matter of, are you ready at that moment to accept that? You're going to keep praying to God and saying, God, I need this, I need that. Or are you going to accept the help when it's offered? Or the guidance when it's offered? Or are you going to keep blaming God because you have an illness? But the truth had already been put in your face and you just chose to ignore it. It's not about scolding people. People can say, well, you're scolding us like little children. Well, don't act like little children. Now, be honest, children act more adult and responsible than a lot of adults right now. They're taught to be racist against other kids of different cultures or colors or what have you, and that's because of you. You can't just blame it on your systems because you're the ones that's falling for it. And then you're telling everybody, oh, you got to stand in line. You got to stand in line. How about being a fucking warrior instead of a soldier that walks and talks the same as everyone else because it's been programmed to be a killer? Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. Well, your political sides are shutting down other freedom of the press, and everybody's saying fake news, fake news. You're only saying fake news because your perceived leaders are saying it's fake news because it's against one another. It's a political. It's a far left, a far right, no matter how you look at it. And then the ones in between. they're the ones who are shunned. It's like, when are you going to get a news station that's actually going to show both sides of it, both dirty sides and good sides? They have good points of view. They just don't use them. And then if they do use some of it, they use it as a manipulation and they never follow through. But hey, you keep sucking it up. And then you point at everybody else because it's election time and they don't see things the same as you do. So you fight over who's voting for who. And then even your own family, you disown your own family because they don't have the same views as you. That's pretty fucking sad if you ask me. And I don't care if you ask me, I'm telling you my thoughts. It's my freedom. Some will tell me they don't like what I have to say. Well, that's fine. I'm not going to stop talking just because you don't like it. That's your problem. Do you think I don't know that people don't like me? I'm not telling you what you have to do. I'm not telling you what to do. What I am saying though is, two of your leaders side by side are both like one leader and one perspective leader. Both side to side are saying about common sense, and not one of them uses fucking common sense. The only sense that they run on is the sense that they put in their pockets and then count it at night before they go to bed to make sure that it's all there. Make sure nobody stole back what they had already stolen, right? Freedom of peaceful assembly and freedom of association. See, when are you going to see that? But, people like this police officer, which to me, they're not here to keep the peace at all. They're here to cause conflict. Because if they were here to keep the peace, they wouldn't be abusing their authority. A lot of people are talking about treason. Well, I'll tell you right now, reading that, like Donald Trump and all his crony buddies that he has in the White House, they're all like, you already know they're breaching it, but I'll tell you right now, you might want to be going after the Congress because everything is supposed to go before the Congress, and you're not taking Trump in hand. And don't say you're afraid of him because that's a load of bullshit. It's got terrorism in here, terrorists and everything. I missed it. Oh, treason. Also see high treason. threats, compulsion by threats. That's what Donald Trump is doing. That's what Pierre Poilievre is doing. That's what a lot of your leaders are doing. You're threatening violence. Okay, so I choose first. We're going to be here. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and of the Treasury of the United States. They shall, in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective house. Okay, so treason, felony, and breach of peace. Donald Trump has violated every one of those. Is that why he doesn't take any pay? Because people say he doesn't take any pay, but he's fucking stealing it blind. People, I've heard people on here saying, "Oh well, other people don't know what's going on." Really? You don't know what's going on. Seriously, he's committing treason on the people. He's a felon, and he's breaching the peace. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created for the emoluments whereof shall have been ceased during such time, and no person holding the office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his conciseness in office. Their civil office. Would that mean that they have to, if they have a business or corporation, they have to step away from it? How about that? Because it creates a conflict of interest. Some people will agree with what he's doing. And my question is, you say that the Democrats people are paying people to go. Well, you must be getting paid too, right? I got this book at Indigo, the Federal Papers, for $15. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops, or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power or engage in war unless actually invade it. Donald Trump, you are not invaded. It's time to take it to the international courts. Because I'll tell you right now, if your Congress is not standing up for you, ask yourself, what's the reason? Wait a minute, a lot of you already know the reason. They're being blackmailed because they got shit on. And why do you think that they were fucking doing what they're doing? Why do you think some of these people took the bribe, take the money and get out? Or we're going to expose you. And that's what it was. Instead, you should have fucking stepped up like a man, did your confession to what you did, take your fucking penalties instead of trying to ship people off because they're about to expose your ass because they ain't fucking afraid of you. Better send in your Proud Boys. Or are they the Lost Boys? Because I'll tell you right now, that's who Donald Trump caters to. People who are lost and looking for hope. Well, you're gonna find you're gonna find chaos first. Because he doesn't have what the people, all of you people need. You just want to be part of something. You just want to be part of that debate and angry with everybody because somebody else fucked you over because you were neglected or abandoned. Peter Piper. They said the story of Peter Piper was to get rid of the fucking rats. Was it to get rid of the rats? You know, coincidence? Peter Pan? Peter Piper? Peter the disciple or apostle or whatever? Wanting to be Peter the Pope? Are you awake yet? Or are you still blinded by your own ignorance because you follow something? My nephew doesn't smoke dope, but he wanted to be part of the legalization of marijuana in Canada. So he went out and bought some weed because it was legal. It's not to throw shame on him. I'm just saying, like, he wanted to be part of something. See, the thing is, you are part of something and much bigger than going to a liquor store and buying some marijuana because it just became legal. I'm reading this right, the president's not supposed to pick its runner. You're supposed to have a voting for the president and vice president. If I'm reading this right. Section 1, Article 2, Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in the president of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during a term of 4 years, and together, so 4 years, a term of 4 years. I would hazard to say that that means they can't be reelected because they've done their 4 years. That's so it doesn't create a dictatorship. You know, they tried really hard to get rid of George Washington because what they were like, they had the Constitution, but what they were trying to do. George Washington all of a sudden did because he went out in the rain, and the next day, a day or two later, he dies because he has a throat infection, and it just so happens that his Secretary of State or something like that was with him at dinner. Look up Bryson. Bryson poisoning. I'll say it again. I believe that he was murdered, and it was from Bryson poisoning. So if they still have the blood of George Washington, you might want to test it for Bryson because it was murder. He didn't die from infection. Dice Ernesto que estamos term of 4 years, and together with the vice president chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint much in such manner as the legislation thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. Here, people are wondering where I got it. The Constitution of the United States. Right there. There's, her upward. Why do you think he wants to change it? But see, the thing is, he knows that legally he does not have the power to. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. And they shall make a list of all of the persons voted for, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the president. If such number by majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there are more than one of them who have such majority and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person have a majority, then from the five highest on the list, the said House shall in like manner choose the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states. The representation from each state having one vote, a quorum for this propose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall necessary to choose to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. That to me tells me it's two separate votes. Ah! See? Fuck! Ah! I said your elections are wrong. They can't pick them. They can't say who's going to run with them. You have a vice president running, you have a president running, you have a vice president running, and that's how I'm interpreting it, because it sounds about right. They can't pick who's going to be next in line to be fucking president, but you're allowing them to. So, it's fucking on you. It's your stupidity. Seriously. Talk about fraud. Kila pure sikiriatoi. Niashole karamurhetai. They don't want you to know they don't want you to know nothing. They want to put you in fucking stupid school. This is like like your constitution. They don't teach you any of that. They don't teach you your rights in school. They don't teach you anything that's fucking useful. They figure, we'll just teach you all about war and everything like that to keep you fucking fighting with one another. And then, some will say, oh, well, we've got to bring God back. You're fucking right, you got to bring God back into school. But it ain't going to be from a fucking Bible. It's going to be by this. The true teachings. Not sitting up on your fucking podiums and say, oh, well, these people did this and this is what happened and we're going to keep fucking fighting with them. Shame on you. Just trying to find where I was. And of course, shall be the vice president. But if there should remain two or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the vice president. Donald Trump, nor Biden, nor Obama, nor Bush, nor Clinton, nor Jefferson, whoever in the fuck they were. They were never supposed to choose who was going to be their running for vice president because they were telling you, well, I'm president, I'm choosing the vice president. I'm choosing the president. It's not that I can't be president. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be you choosing the president and the vice president. You're the one that's supposed to be electing the people to get in there, not them bringing their people in. Because that's stacking the deck. And Donald Trump likes to play a game of cards. Have fun playing your cards while everybody else is fucking playing chess. Just remember, in your deck of cards, there are two fucking wild cards. And people think that the Trump. No. One card fits with one Trump. A wild card fits with all four. Just do that. Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors, USING, the electors, and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be on the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president, nor neither shall any person be eligible to the office who shall not be attained to the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. Well, that's like it contradicts itself. Is what it seems there. Because it's saying that no person except a natural born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution, okay, shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall the person be eligible to the office. The true meaning of citizen, according to Merriam-Webster, citizen, noun, CITIZEN, a native or naturalized individual who owes allegiance to a government and is entitled to the enjoyment of governmental protection and to the exercise of civil rights. See also Scott v. Okay, so like these, people are talking about the immigrants, right? Okay, so the immigrants have been living there, they've been paying their taxes, you've been accepting their votes and everything like that. So by doing that, did you not actually, whether they had their papers or not, did you not actually accept them as a citizen? They're paying taxes. They're voting. What, you want to kick them out because they know their dirty deeds? You know, maybe people should leave it. Donald Trump and his followers to, this is a burning hell, right? Or should we all work together to help people through and see the truth for what it is? It may be Donald Trump is like telling you, hey, have a look at your constitution. That could be part of it. And right now, your connection is unstable. Right after I said that, maybe he's telling you for years they've been violating your constitution. He's just the example they're using to do it. I'm not saying he's still not a bastard. It's that part of you don't know what happens behind those doors. You just know the facade. Seriously, this book here has the Constitution. See, I was never into this stuff. It's just been like, I think the past 6 months after I did my own genealogy and found that my sixth great grandfather had a connection to George Washington. They were both farmers. I think they were trading with one another. And didn't Donald Trump say, I seen one of the videos on TikTok, he criticized Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, and he sat in the front row while Biden spoke and looked right at Donald Trump. What has Donald Trump done good for people? What, kissed a baby? I wouldn't want his fucking lips on a kid. I watched there was a video on TikTok and it said, this is the real Donald Trump. It had Donald Trump. But it had Donald Trump, and he had his hand right here on a little girl, tapping her bum. I watched a video. It was an older video on YouTube. It was like, I think, from the 80s. And they were talking about finding packed up babies in a container. But when people that mention that nowadays, people say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. to show me to show you the video. Seriously, piss off. Freaking 50, jackass. Yeah, I'm 50. You know, this is stuff that are you people ready to see the truth? Are you ready to stop calling people conspiracy theorists? And are you ready to demand that all truth be open? Are you people ready to see the truth? Are you ready to stop calling people conspiracy theorists? Are you ready to demand that all containers be open? This is the stuff that they need to hide from you. The stuff they don't want you to see, know, or remember. It's time to remember. It's time to look. It's time to open your eyes and see. It's time to stand up and say, enough is enough. It's time the truth to be revealed, no matter how much it hurts. What if it was your child? Or what if it was one of your family members or their child? How would you feel about that? Actually, I'll play the video and then we'll be done. America today is involved in another desperate conflict. Much of the action takes place behind the scenes, at clinics, homes, and hospitals.
Many Americans aren't even aware of the struggle, so brace yourself, because before this film is over, you will visit the bloody fields of battle. You'll meet the people involved in the fighting on both sides, which includes some of the most influential figures in America today. And perhaps for the first time, you'll understand the reasons behind their struggle. Our story concerns abortion and begins, strangely enough, in this relatively peaceful.
I'm going to talk I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. When I had my miscarriages, right, first miscarriage, I was told I was pregnant with twins, and miscarriage. And they found some tissue in my urine, so they sent me home. And I ended up having to come back. And did an ultrasound, and they said that there was some of one baby left, but there was another baby there too. So I don't know if that baby that was whole actually died or if they did an abortion. They did a DNC, but I don't know if they did an illegal abortion. Still there.
Suburb of
Abortion is the person's choice. People may not see it as being right. But that's the part where it becomes their choice. But I'll tell you, if contraceptive was free, like it should be, we wouldn't have a lot of this issue. Yeah, right now I'm just sitting back because I feel people sitting there. Trying to sexually sterilize people with needles, food. And you can say that they're not doing with the needles. You go look up the fucking Sexual Sterilization Act and you'll find out exactly how they're doing it. And it's not just through fucking needles, it's through your food, it's through everything. They're putting chemicals in your body that's sterilizing you. That's why the fertility rate has gone down, and fertility rate is profitable right now. That's why Donald said that Donald Trump was saying about getting $5,000 to a woman if they have 6 kids. Seriously, dude, I want to see you pop 6 kids out your fucking penis hole. Let it expand like a woman's vagina has to, and let us chop the head of your penis. Because that's what they got to do for a woman when it doesn't expand enough. You're not a woman. You don't know what that fucking felt like. Let me tell you, at 15, having them cut your vagina from asshole to appetite doesn't fucking tickle. But it's people like yourself that would rather see a woman be tortured than fucking do the right thing, right? Let us seriously take the head hole of your fucking penis and cut it. And I'm not talking your foreskin. because with that you're actually you're cutting into flesh. I had 26 stitches from it, and let me tell you, some people agree with abortion, some people don't. But see, it's not just happening. The containers is not just happening to children who are being through abortion. It's through abductions and everything. They no longer have any use for them. But you won't believe that. Says, doing all your blood work and finding out about this and that. So you can play doctor. Here, we'll make you fucking sick and then we'll go play doctor for you. We like watching people tortured, going in pain because we get off on it. It's for wonder. So maybe some of you are actually jacking off in the corner or masturbating because it could be a woman too. A little hard for you. Shit you really don't want to look at because you'd rather look at your phones and be entertained. Oh, and look on TikTok. It's not because I want to be entertained, because it's not entertainment to me. Because a lot of times it just freaking pisses me off. They want to keep people from people like myself away from exposing truth, and they want to tell us, say, like, you're in violation of this, you're in violation of that, you're in violation of fucking human rights, you're in violation of all freedoms. Freedom of speech. You cut it off because you don't like what they have to say because maybe it's about you and it's the fucking truth, and you don't want the truth to be revealed. That's why I come on here and I'll tell my own story. I tell my own shit. Because that means I'm capable and able to face my shadows. So they keep you living in. It's called shadow work. The book of shadows. Shadows of the truth. But the only way they can hide the shadows is to keep you in fucking darkness. So let there be light. Because when there's light, light a flame or a light shining and see that flame, see that shadow. Go walk and watch your shadow walk with you. Peter Pan got what it is. Peter Pan wanted to be a child. Well, isn't that what Donald Trump and his crony buddies are acting like? Adolescent humans. But it's not about adolescent humans. It's about broken souls. Yes.
Los Angeles. Melvin Weisberg, a pathologist, owned a large storage container which he kept in his backyard. When he failed to make the final 2 payments, it was repossessed.
We made a decision to repossess it because it's checked to not clear the bank, and so we sent the truck out to pick up the container.
We rolled up there and took the box up and started filling it up. And it was so heavy, it just it wasn't on the winch, and we couldn't get it off the trailer, so we had to leave it on the trailer because it was too heavy. So I was by Nick to have a crew come down and unload the container at the other yard.
I got a radio call that from Ron Gillette. They said, man, it's really happened. There was something really wrong.
One of them fell down and hit me right in front of my feet. And it was opened up, and there it was. It was a mutilated body. And the more closer I looked at it, it was a human body. And when I came to work with Father's Day, I saw it myself. I couldn't believe it. And just little bitty babies, just all torn pieces. My hands chopped off, hard, raised. It's just makes you sick to see something like that. Well, really, it's just, it makes you want to cry when you see something like that.
It's right in the very front of this container, which is walled clear to the ceiling, clear to the sides, filled with.
I really don't want to witness it again. That's not what I saw. Well, as the supervisor for the county of Los Angeles, we found out through the media that 17,000 infants had been stored in a container. So we asked for an investigation by the district attorney and the coroner's office. We found approximately 190 were over 20 weeks of age. I think some as old as 25, 27 weeks.
Mr. Antonovich contacted me, the terrorist.
Lynn Wong is a funeral director for a major Los Angeles mortuary.
Asked us to go ahead and handle the burial of the fetuses. How I became involved was they were asking if it were possible to have anyone photograph these fetuses. And I so happened to be also a photographer.
How many fetuses were actually involved in the autopsy?
There were approximately about 44.
Why were the autopsies performed?
They were to find out why, what was the reason for the death. Apparently not. No, I've seen some of these fetuses and they were apart. But there were some where the eyes were bulging and some where the chest cavity was ripped open. I do remember one where I saw the hand and the feet all apart. So it's kind of like the hands were intact, the feet were intact, and everything else was more like just a little potpourri, a little of everything. And that was it. That kind of turned me.
Here we see the abortionist stretching the cervix very wide open.
Dr. John Wilkie, with his wife Barbara, authored a handbook on abortion, described the dilation and extraction method used to abort many of the fetuses.
The abortionist reaches up into the womb and seizes part of the body of the baby, usually a leg or an arm. Twisting and tearing away from the body of the baby feeling pain, does not have any anesthetic. Bleeding is extreme. The abortionist returns in there with this grasping pliers-like instrument, tearing more parts of the body away, snapping the spine, and finally the mechanical problem is to get the skull out, and so he usually has to crunch the skull in order to bring it down.
We had a court order that would allow us to bury these infants, the Maine Act. And the ACLU comes in again saying that this is just tissue. We want to incinerate them, and there's no need for a burial. Because without a burial, somehow that's going to create a problem. Problem for who?
And at that time, I think everybody there realized this was wrong. That it was really wrong. Everybody standing there felt that way. Even the coroners, because I could sense that they were treating us like they were dead people, and they are dead people. That's the way everybody treated it. Maybe the ACLU doesn't feel that way. They transferred it all into the original container. And as I understand, it's still up in a county yard someplace.
Is it refrigerated?
No, it's in a steel container.
How long has it been?
I don't know, but it's been 2 years now, so who knows?
Although the discovery of 17,000 fetuses in a trash container is not an everyday occurrence, it is an event that should surprise no one. For every 3 days, an equivalent number of fetal children are disposed of in this country. 17,000.
Now, what does that have to do with the Constitution? Because this is not your right to know about this. You know, they take it out of your sight. And then they tell you, that it's a conspiracy theory. You know, it's like you know, there's stuff happening, but your media, you say your media is restricted because your government officials are buying the media. Well, you know, people are saying that the liberals are buying the media, and you know, the conservatives are not letting the media in and blocking them all this and like how to like stuff. You know, there was actually back here a few years ago, I heard in New Brunswick, they had stopped a containment truck, a haul truck or something like that, and they found children, maybe even some women that were being trafficked. But that wasn't on your news anymore. When they informed me about it, they didn't even look. Nowhere. Why? You know, your news, instead of like doing all sorts of things, they have 2 minutes, and a lot of the time they're just showing about like you know what's popular about them, what's to keep you distracted. And you think I'm ignorant? Wow. True ignorance is different. In the case of the removal of the president from office or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall befall on the vice president, and the Congress may by law provide the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of the president and vice president, declaring what officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are incapable of being head of office. Or a president shall be elected. The president shall at state times receive for his service compensation which shall neither be increased or diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected, and he shall not receive within the period of another emolument from the United States or any 4 years. No re-election, not even to be re-elected or be able to run again. That's how they stack it up. That's how you get a dictatorship, and no matter the country that you live in, if it's happening where they're keeping them in more than the years that they're supposed to be, they're creating a dictatorship and they're lying. And I don't care what country you live in. Maybe called the United States, but it's a country. And that country is no exception to any. Is it a matter of impeachment? No. It's a matter of going in and removing him because he's with it. And all the ones he put in there, it's the same. People step up that haven't been in there for election every 4 years. The same thing. But some will say, well, where did he hear information? Dice cuenta poquita. And it's called the laws of the universe. You create your own dictatorship because you don't know your own rights and freedoms. They don't teach it to you, which they should be teaching it to you. That should be what's mandatory. Teaching you your rights. Because I'll tell you right now, that officer, she don't know fuck all the Constitution, because if she did, she would be arresting her. She would be going after them. She's preaching about God or Jesus. Before he entered on an execution of his office, he shall take the following oath of affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. He's trying to change it. He's not trying to this is where the impeachment comes in. The president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army, Navy of the United States, but they're there to protect the Constitution. And Donald Trump has violated. So anybody who what have you goes and does for Donald Trump, actually in violation of your own Constitution. United States and of the civil or several states when called into the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in which of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective officers, and he shall have power to grant, well, we already know he has reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in case of impeachment. To give one person the right to pardon anybody they want regarding offenses against the states. If it's an offense against the states and they committed an offense against the states, what? Seriously. You know, it shouldn't be him being allowed to pardon anyone. Will I pick the Constitution's part? Yeah. But it's not. It's not about it benefiting that one person or their group. It's part of like what the f are you doing, putting stuff like this in power for one person in the first place? Who put that in there? I know it would have been with the first Constitution, but whose idea? Or was it an amendment, or was it something that was changed? Washington passed. And never put in the amendment. I'm allowed to ask these questions. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm asking the question. You know, look at circumstance. Look at what's going on. See, like what they're doing here, it's like they got away from the monarchy, but they created their own monarchy. Oh shit! Oh, oh. And they gave all the power to one fucking person. Does that not sound like you know, your Statue of Liberty? I knew that there was chains. People think they're well, the chains are there. was fucking chained. She was chained. It doesn't matter what color people think that she was supposed to be. Like, holy fuck, man, get over yourselves. Every fucking one of you. Didn't have to do with getting rid of one color slavery. It had to do with getting rid of slavery itself. The slavery of the feminine. The feminine was enslaved. It was breaking the chains. I've said it many a times. Breaking the sire, the father of the pain. Why do you think it was planted in the United States? Because it was telling you that that's the father of the pain. Ah! See? Wish today. And I don't care if you think I look psychotic. I'd rather look psychotic than be in fucking denial of shit. France sent it over. Why do you think France sent it over? Because they enslaved the French too. Which is say, oh, Europeans now. Anyone that followed the Romans. You know, the British followed the Romans. Hitler followed the Romans. Donald Trump is following the Romans. And J.D. Vance, he's a fucking poser. Because I know who and what he is. That's why they say, you know, one's going to move out of the way so the other one can come. You better get Donald Trump and J.D. Vance the fuck out of there. Yeah, people know what's happening, all right. You know, is Donald Trump going to die of natural causes? Or are they just going to say it's a natural cause? You know, I'm serious. I love shit in it. J.D. Vance should never have been put on plate to vote debate, like, because he was not picked by the really, he was really not picked by the people. Because it was supposed to be an independent. You want to scream a bunch of rights, but you don't want to look into what they are. Seriously. Some of you right now, you're probably still being denied of it, but it's right in the Constitution that you're screaming about. That you think that your president is going by the Constitution. Does the Constitution need to be reevaluated? Even the amendments? Yeah, because you're just making it to twist it around so that it works for them. And even the people that vote for him. That's how he sees it. So for Proud Boys and Lost Boys, you must have hate on for women. You must have hate on for immigrants and freaking people of other culture. Because maybe when you were younger, you got attacked by one, so you gotta say they're all bad. Would you like me to help you choke me? Because I can feel that. Solo que no me quisiera todo el mío. Looking for your savior, look in. Because that's safe. Confirmation. The train has left the station. As some people would say. Are you ready to see the truth? Because I prefer to do. Officers should be drawn to weapons if they're against other people. Get the corruption. Instead of wasting your time on whether somebody's out fucking preaching on the side of the road. Do your fucking job. Instead of working for the corruption. Get rid of it. Or are you part of it? To that woman and ones like her, you're what makes the system bad. So sit with them. And with that being said, I'm sending you much love, light, and many blessings. Most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting to accept. Watch all of you very important. Most importantly, be yourself, be true to yourself and others, kind to yourself and others, and know that you've been your savior all along. And my question is, when you want to see you all.